Wombleys.com. Hello, everybody. Thank you for clicking on of the Wombleys from Saturday night, kicking our things off here just as a little bit of an opener. Hello, Newfie girl. Thank you for being here. Oh, no, not this guy. Hot Mess Summer, what's going on? A very happy to everybody as we start this night off. And again, thank you all for clicking on. Got a bunch of stuff. My gosh, so much stuff. Some of it is kind of this has been a LePreau, how are you? This has been it's been a crazy weekend, crazy few days. Started Saturday, and anyway, we'll get to all of that coming up here. Again, thanks for clicking on. We're going to start it before we get to the news. I guess we'll do the news. We'll do our Twitter's bookmark scroll. It's not a very long one. Got a lot of other little stories that just aren't drawing the attention they deserve. And got a couple of, we're going to be here for a little bit tonight, and get your popcorn, settle up, and enjoy. We're going to start off with what's going on right now or earlier in Mississippi. This was 2 hours ago. Emergency sirens going off, tornadoes. At least one person has life. Several injuries, and this is during the day. It may appear like it's the dark of night, but it is not. That is the whoa. Hang on. I want to do that. I wanted to get off of the screen before that happened. Put you back over here. So there's been at least one major significant tornado in Mississippi, and again, a fatality, at least one, and numerous injuries. So if you're in from Texas all the way across to the Florida Panhandle and Florida itself, storms just keep rolling in, and we're gonna touch base with Ryan Hall, y'all. Weather tonight, and this kind of impacts everybody across the country.
Over the past week, we've seen an unusual amount of tornadoes, giant hailstones, and other storms across the U.S. And unfortunately, the weather is about to get even weirder. Right now, a pattern is developing that will cause record cold temperatures and a heat wave at the same time. While all of this is happening, a couple of very concerning and unexplained are brewing off the coast of Africa, and they have their sights on us. But that's over a week away. What about something close like Tuesday? Even our short-term forecast is action-packed, as we do expect to see some crazy weather down here in the south in the form of torrential rain and severe thunderstorms. The Storm Prediction Center has issued slight risks of severe weather for Tuesday, as we expect some strong storms to form along a boundary up here in the afternoon, and at the same time, strong winds and hail might be a problem down here in the southeast as well. From Shreveport, Louisiana, to Raleigh, North Carolina, several of showers and thunderstorms will be possible throughout the day. And these storms are going to be packed with moisture, leading to lots of torrential downpours. And this is why the Weather Prediction Center has actually issued an expansive outlook for excessive Tuesday, highlighting the risk for flash flooding, especially up here closer to the mountains. The reason all this is happening is due to an area of low pressure that's literally gotten stuck down here, bringing in a ton of moisture out of the Gulf of Mexico and literally squeezing it all out against the Appalachian Mountains. This is known as a cutoff low. This is something we do not normally see in June. And what's even more unusual is almost the exact
Drinking this with warm water before bed restores.
Okay, go ahead and make sure you you check the rest of that out at Ryan Hall Y'all. One of, if not the one of the better, if not the best, as far as forecasting here on our YouTube streets. As far as storm chasing, you're not going to find any better than Reed Timmer, but from doing it from the studio, and plus Ryan Hall does a lot of charitable work, helps people out. So if you're unfamiliar with, and I've got a couple other channels like this I'm going to toss out. Not that they need my help, but nonetheless, if you're not aware of them, check them out, because they're doing some good stuff, and Ryan Hall's one of them. As far, personality wise, but it's about the information. It's about helping people. And Ryan does a really, really, really good job of that. Hot Mess Summer. I've got to get to Louisville. Send me an email, Summer, at some time when you're going to have like maybe a Friday or a Saturday. I really want to come down. I want to go through the Roots 101 museum. I'd like to do a stream from down there, Louisville. I'd like to have you down there. Email me, please. Hello, peace, love, sunshine. Hello to everybody. Hello to those watching. Hello to those in the chat. Thank you for clicking on. There are tons of fun, and you chose to click here, and I'm grateful and thankful that you have. And we got some stuff. First of all, in case you thought grifters were only in certain spheres of the YouTube communities, Spotify executive Bill Simmons calls Harry and Meghan grifters after a podcast deal ends. So I found that rather amusing that two of the royals get called grifters. And that takes us to our next little bit of, let's see, should we do? Yeah, let's do this. Let's, before I get into the bookmarks, before I get into the breaking, the headlines from mainstream media, I'm going to end with something from, hold on. Okay. Well, there we go. An ad popped up, so I had to hop out of that. We're going to start out with a little bit of comedy here, and we're going to end the thing once we eventually do get to the end with a little bit of comedy here. If you know, hello, Breeway. If you know, and thank you for being here. Thank you for always do. Thank you to all my mods. Geez, I don't have to worry about the chat. I can, like right now, I can pop over happening in the chat, and I can focus on what I need to focus on, because I know the mods do a great job, and I don't say thank you enough. So thank you to them. And speaking of popping back over, we're going to start out with a little bit of comedy and end up with a little bit of comedy. And let me skip this ad. Um, in case you have never heard of this guy, his name's Trey Crowder, and he's known as the liberal redneck. I've been showing Trey stuff on here since I started. So I don't know, 4 years ago now. Um, and I'm going to end with a bit from Trey as well. But this is one of his liberal redneck short pieces. This is about the Trump indictment, round two. And here.
Well, Trump has been indicted for the second time, and he's federally effed this time, y'all, and the American right wing is apoplectic about it. They're out there screaming, "Sleepy Joe Biden, the mentally incompetent do-nothing president, who also happens to be the most nefarious and savvy criminal mastermind of our time, has clearly orchestrated this in an effort to take down his political opponent. Nothing more than a witch hunt." And you're just sitting there like, you seen the mountains of photographic evidence they've got? It kind of seems like Trump did that shit to me. But don't try to tell them that. They're too busy talking out of both sides of every hole they got, trying to spin this thing. They're like, oh, he probably didn't even have the documents, and if he did, they were probably declassified, and if they weren't declassified, it's not like he sold them anyway. Also, Hillary's a huge bitch, therefore I rest my case. You're like, what? That's not the most cogent argument there. Also, you call it a witch, basically begged them to do this. Most people agree that if Trump had just given the documents back when he was asked, none of this would have happened. But Trump, ever the gargantuan orange-tinted toddler, just had to respond to those requests with, no, mine, can't have them, no, give them. Right? And now here we all are. Speaking of which, it's got to suck to be Trump's lawyer, dude. You get abused, undermined, and stiffed on pay just so you can represent one of the least criminally savvy clients on earth. Trump's lawyer's down there right now trying to make arguments like, Your Honor, how can it be proven that my client did not genuinely believe he had these documents during his role as president, thus making them okay to share with others? And the court's just like, well, we have a transcript of an audio recording here wherein your client states, and I quote, "I could have declassified these when I was president, but I didn't, and so they're still secret. Do you want to see them anyway?" His lawyer's just sitting there like, oh, okay. I'm just going to jump out the fucking window. Thank you. It's all so stupid, man. But arguably the dumbest part of the whole thing is Trump's apparent motivation for it all. Because according to most reports, Trump just did this so he could, look cool in front of his dinner guests. That's the reason he jeopardized the lives and operations of military and intelligence officers abroad and our national security. He did that just so he could be at a cocktail party and be like, hey, you know what that is? That's a plan for how we would explode the whole Middle East. Pretty cool, right? I would let you see it, but only presidents are cool enough. I was president. I don't know if you know. I'm just kidding. You can see it. You can have it if you want. I got copies. It's fine. It's so dumb, man. But I gotta say, that juvenile and asinine motivation being the reason that the Republican candidate for president is a convicted felon on the night of the 2024 election is an almost poetic addition to this nightmarishly stupid chapter of our American experiment. So I guess we'll see what happens. Love y'all.
That's Trey Crowder. Before we get to our more serious stories, just a little bit of humor from the man who has branded himself the liberal redneck, or the redneck liberal. Again, we're going to end with a piece from him as well. But in the meantime, thank you all for hopping on, for clicking on. Here is what's going on as far as headlines in the mainstream. CBS News: submarine on expedition to the Titanic wreck is missing, with 5 people aboard. Search and rescue is underway by the United States Coast Guard. Just suddenly disappeared, which is rather odd. The Reuters headline is Z and Blinken agreed to stabilize U.S.-China in Beijing talks. It was kind of a surprise to a lot of people that Blinken shows up in China, and that they're having talks. we'll, as they say, we'll circle back around to that later on in the episode here. Let's go to the AP news. This is Associated Press, not Anarchy Princess. Americans mark Juneteenth with parties, events, and let me get rid of this. And quiet reflection on the end of slavery. And today is indeed Juneteenth. I clicked too many. There we go. Headline from The Guardian is a judge orders Trump lawyers not to disclose evidence in documents case. And this is just a, you might as well call this a bear trap because Trump's not going to be able to keep his mouth shut. I mean, like it's been said, it's in his best interest. He just doesn't have the ability. CNN News, Tropical Storm Brett is forecast to become a hurricane by Wednesday. So once again, another weather story here towards the beginning, and we'll keep monitoring Brett to see if it does become a hurricane, and if it does indeed ravage Florida, as some are predicting. Fox News headline, North Carolina blue marlin fishing tournament ends in controversy after a 619-pound marlin was deemed mutilated. And so the fishing boat that landed the marlin did not get a $3.2 million prize. You might assume with that there will be litigation behind that. Sorry, I've got moving on to the next thing here, and had to get rid of a commercial. So once again, that's our headlines, and mention Juneteenth. For those that aren't aware, okay. Juneteenth is a really significant day, the 19th of June. And here's just a little short on how it became a federal holiday. And it's connecting dots, by the way.
Celebrates the freedom of slaves, but the holiday wasn't always recognized.
How did Juneteenth become a federal day? Let's connect the dots. Juneteenth, a combination of the words June and 19th, commemorates when the last enslaved people in the South were finally set free. It's a holiday rich in history. After the Union defeated the Confederacy in 1965, 4 million slaves were set to become free, but it didn't happen immediately. Union armies began marching through the southern states, freeing thousands of slaves every day. The news took months to reach Texas. On June 19, 1865, Union troops rode into Galveston, Texas, and slaves of their freedom. Their spontaneous celebration gave birth to Juneteenth. Over 150 years later, private companies made Juneteenth a permanent paid holiday for their employees after erupted following the murder of George Floyd. Then in 2021, the U.S. Congress passed a bill to make it a federal holiday, and President Biden signed it into law. And that's connecting the dots.
There you go. That's how it became a federal holiday. Well, there we go. Let's get rid of that. Thank you very much. And let's hop back over here. And we're going to talk a little bit more about Juneteenth. And insult to injury, he was trying to impress Kid Rock. Yeah. Talking about Trump and the documents. Yeah. I tried to do a comedy bit on Drive-In as Trump and Kid Rock, and I using that as the center of it, and I think it went people weren't ready for it or were aware of it, or it just wasn't very damn funny, which is possible. Oakland's been celebrating Juneteenth in the 80s. Yes. Um, Members of the Black communities have been celebrating Juneteenth for hundreds of years. And unfortunately, it took for a lot of the rest of the American community to be. Um, and there's a whole lot of other examples of incidents in American history that people should be aware of. And that's part of the reason that there are factions that want to change how history is taught, change the focus of history from the truth to teaching history as propaganda. And we're going to talk more about that coming up too. So let's do the stroll here real quick. Of course, it does this to me every single time I get it set up. And okay, and then I go to click on it, and there's no bookmarks. So we reboot. Bookmarks are up. It just between my studio here and Twitter. All right, here we go. These are our Twitter bookmarks for the 19th day of June, 2023. There are unintended consequences I'm not sure we've fully thought of. I don't believe this is appropriate. This is the vice mayor of Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Despite his warning, the mayor and the council vote to give the signature and the police chief control of quote decency and control libraries. I don't know if you were aware of that or not. It's something that something you might want to think about. Okay, this comes from the Intel Crab. He says anti-woke patriots are so eager to kill their neighbors that they spend their whole life hoping for an imminent government crackdown that never seems to come. That was okay. This is one of the things that I said we're going to be talking about. That's maybe a little bit crazy. There were. Let's see. Let me just tell you a story. It's not really a story. Let me just tell you what happened. Saturday, I was at my sister and brother-in-law's 60th wedding anniversary celebration. Congratulations if you happen to be watching. Great sloppy joes, great homemade ham salad, homemade potato salad, and great food. And I left my phone out in the car, and just ended off while I was there. And I went out and got in the car, and I had a whole bunches. Do you know anything about troop movements in the United States? And of course, I didn't have a clue. And I started looking, and some of the stuff easily explainable. I mean, the first thing I did was, okay, there's drills. This is that's seen National Guard commercials. You know that it's 2 weekends and 2 weeks in the summer, join the National Guard. And they drill in the summer. It's generally not, it's generally not secret. Most of the time, people know, when it's going to happen, where they're going to be. It's, and also a lot of footage got out, in my opinion, got out onto the internet that wasn't relative to what was going on. It was just being put out to exacerbate the situation. Okay. However, there are some of the things that still aren't fully explained as far as odd things going on. Now, I'm bringing all this up for two reasons. Number one, many people felt like that anti-woke patriots, and that, they felt the government was coming after them. So, it's time for them to rise up and shoot first, blah, 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 blah. And my first thought, honestly, too, was, okay, maybe they're moving stuff into position in case there's action. Now, again, this is all speculation. It's all hyperbolic, basically, because again, a lot of the things, the tanks on the street of Idaho, they were just being moved from the armory to the actual National Guard base. And what Intel Crab does here is make fun of that, that this is happening. And a whole bunch of people did that and piled on, and and I'll show you another example here coming up. But without explaining, without fully explaining what everything was, okay? And if you can't explain it all, that just makes it, you making fun of somebody isn't going to make them, make them change their mind most of the time. It depends on who the person is and what the topic is, and how bad the, situation is. But again, they're showing some sort of armored vehicles, and a lot of them. And we don't even know, it looks like the same kind of infrastructure that we have here in the United States, but honestly, we really don't know. And stuff like this, unprecedented military mobilization and activity happening across North America right now. And again, the first thing that popped into my head was, well, it's, it's in case they're going to try to do something. And the past 2 days after all of this on Saturday, the past 2 days, I've had extensive phone debates with not debates as far as anger or any, but, and it's so absurd to even say this. But the debates were, okay, what's more likely if these troops are indeed being moved? And a couple of these people were ex-military. If troops are being positioned, are they being positioned because of an insurrection, or because the other thing I'm hearing is alien invasion? Now, even saying those two words, alien invasion, is 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 nuts. But we're going to get to that too in just a couple of minutes. This is what they call a meme, and make sure I get okay. Yeah, make sure I didn't jump track there. Um, this is what they call a meme in the internet streets. I'm sorry, sir, but just one more thing. This is Peter playing a TV character called Columbo. For those that do not know, and this was his big thing. Just one more thing before I leave. Um, just one more thing. If these documents were planted by the FBI, what do you say you want them back? Again, it's just another one of those little tiny pesky things to think about. This is, oh no, I didn't want to do that. There we go. There we go. This is one of those things that we pause and watch and smile and giggle and laugh, and need to do that on episodes like this, especially after talking about the possibility of if troops had been being troops and assets have been being positioned. Why? Again, I'm going with drills and leave it at that for now anyway. I told you we were going to touch on Juneteenth again. That's for, in case you are just joining us, go back and watch all the beginning of this, please. On June 19th, 1865, news of the Emancipation Proclamation. All right. Lincoln had issued the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, 2 years earlier. But the news somehow did not make it into Texas. And you heard earlier, Union troops rode into Galveston, Texas, and informed enslaved Africans of their freedom and the official end of the Civil War, even though that was well after Lee had surrendered to Grant at Appomattox Courthouse. The news would come nearly 2.5 years later. Today we mark Freedom Day and fairness for all Americans. And for those of you that are out there going, well, why do we have this day? We got July 4th. That's Freedom Day. There's a big difference between being free from the rule of another country and being enslaved. So it's okay to and celebrate. And if you're a federal employee, take the day off. It's deserved and it's needed. Okay, so it doesn't in any way tarnish or take away from July 4th. We're all going to party on July 4th and shoot firecrackers, and a bunch of people will probably do something and go, hey, watch this, and end up in the hospital. That's just how July 4th tend to work. It comes from Adam Kinzinger. Adam Kinzinger, you might remember, congressman from Illinois that was on the January 6th committee, the two Republicans that had the cojones to sit up there and listen to what the truth was. The other one being Cheney. Adam Kinzinger says Pence thinks he can satisfy, and he says Chris Christie knows the truth and speaks it boldly. So Kinzinger is recommending that if you are a Republican and you really want to drain the swamp of Trump, you get Chris Christie. That's what Adam Kinzinger is saying. Now, what Mike Pence is saying is we're going to clean house. We're going to the FBI director. the FBI director was appointed by Donald Trump. It was Trump's handpicked person to lead the FBI until Trump was the one doing the crimes and thought, well, hey there, old buddy, old pal, you're not going to do anything to me. And I'm going to speak on Mike Pence here just for a minute. Mike, you need to withdraw before you're going to get embarrassed, and you're going to get embarrassed in a number of ways. You're never going to get any support. The support you get is going to be friends and family. And, we both know that's not that large of a group. Reason is because you are with Trump and you still taint yourself with Trump. You still try to be a Trumperoid. Okay, that's instead of Trumpers, it's Trumperoid. It's a hemorrhoid on Donald Trump. So no more Trumpers. If you're going to associate yourself with him, you're a Trumperoid. And you're so tainted that the people that don't want Trump don't want you. And you're also so hated by the people that do want Trump. They wanted to hang you and they still hate you. And I can guarantee you, some of you might watching my channel right now, and either in the chat that's happening live or in the comments, if they're watching this on demand, thank you for watching wherever you are. People are going to be saying, we hate Mike Pence. We hate Mike Pence. And buddy, there's reason. There's reason. You could have gone down in history. You could have gone down in history hero. You really could have. You saved democracy. You saved the union by certifying the election. And then you proved your patriotism only lasted for about an hour. And you were back to trying to figure out how to avoid Preparation H so you could be attached to Donald Trump's. Anyway, sorry, Mike. Just had to get that out. And I'll probably say the same thing several times over the next several months as we lead up to 2024, which is going to be, my gosh, the content is going to just be incredible. We're going to have 2.5, 3 hour shows like this at least once a week. Again, we're with Adam. And this is one of the things I was pointing out. Nobody has been able, or at least, and I didn't spend a lot of today. So there could be an explanation for this, but this was one of them that people trying to justify, why were armored personnel carriers and howitzers in downtown Philadelphia, if there was drills, you would think it would be notified. Now, this is said to be the 56th Stryker Brigade combat team moving equipment, preparing for their annual drills. Okay, why are they driving through the streets of Philadelphia? Is it because of the overpass that they have no choice? Because, that just popped into my head, and I have not heard anybody say that is the reason they're doing it. I would like, because this is one of those that, people, wait a minute, they don't do that. Why? Because it tends to alarm people. All right. This is sad news. 2 Pennsylvania state troopers were shot in Juanita County. The gunman was also shot, and police confirmed 5 people were shot at the Beyond Wonderland Festival campground in Washington State over the weekend. Police confirm at least 20 people shot, 1 killed at Willowbrook, Illinois gathering. At least 10 people shot, 1 killed at a building in St. Louis, Missouri. Strong 6.6 earthquake hits off of Mexico, Baja California. A lot of stuff going on. And of course, MAGA prophet, we keep down here, everybody that putting out and continues to put out a prophecy about a great coup. And as one who has studied Bible prophecies, and I mean that sincerely, occasionally say something about a king getting overthrown or something, but he generally doesn't talk about coups. So I don't think any of the hello Lois, hello Lori, Nancy, thanks for being in the concert video the other night. Thank you to everybody that watched. And again, we're going to be doing that probably once a week. Going to do something like this once a week, probably on Mondays, and extended with a whole bunch of stuff that we're going to be on here for a while. And then a shorter episode a couple of times, either Fridays or Saturday, a little bit of music from fairies. Again, it'll depend on how long, on what else is going on, and how good the band is. So let's see, where are we at? Get rid of that. And let's just start this way and go backwards. Again, thank you all for watching. And if you, I'll let you know before we do the feature thing, I'm going to take a couple of minutes in case anybody has any questions about any of this stuff. Because again, tossing out a whole lot of things. Here we go. Let's start here. Again, these are just stories that did not make the headlines, but yet something you might just, you want to just tuck away as a little fact. Don Trump Jr. faces calls for the country of Australia to ban him. He's supposed to be going over there later this summer. They want to ban him due to him being a white supremacist and transphobia and misogynist. So just something to think about. Don Jr. not going to Australia, man. Sorry. Or at least possibly not. This is House Intelligence Committee Chairman Mike Turner from Ohio, a Trump supporter, and he's also chairman of House Intelligence Committee, and he calls Trump's documents a grave concern. Again, the documents are one thing, but what's coming? I mean, here we go. All right. There we go. Trump rants on Truth Social over a poll him losing to Biden. Trump is really partial to only acknowledging polls that uh, show him leading Joe Biden even by the slightest of margins. And he never, he talks about how he's beating Joe Biden and all these polls and stuff. He never talks about the margin, if you'll notice. And that's because the margin has been really, really slim on a lot of these polls. And after everything that's come out and after everything that continues to come out, it's tipped the other way. So it will be interesting. It'll be incredibly interesting the next 6 weeks to see what happens to Trump politically and to his campaign. Once again, Pence's former chief of staff buries Trump for indefensible pardons. One of the most unseemly parts of their administration, pardoning Mike Flynn and as a example of what he was talking about there. Oh no, crap! I accidentally erased two things I wanted to show you, so I'm not going to be able to do that. But I want to get this out because I took some heat the other night. I showed a video that allegedly showed radar showing Canadian fires, wildfires starting in numerous locations, seemingly almost simultaneously. And a lot of us on the internet have been taking heat. It's not like I'm Canada. If hey, I got nothing especially against Canada. This isn't an attack on Canada. This is sharing information. And the latest information is a viral video of helicopters starting Canadian fires, which is get it right. See if I can get it up here. Well, of course, there. Stop. Let's see if it will play. It won't. Of course, it won't. No, it won't play. All right. So allegedly, this is a helicopter dropping some kind of flammable substance, an extended flame trail. So just more more confusion, more, I don't know, misinformation, misdirection. It's so hard to know anymore. All right, that's our. I deleted a couple of things and I got it all messed up here. So give me just a second. All right, here we go. That's where I wanted to be here. So a lot of stuff going on. Talk by sane people about, is there a coming alien invasion? Talk by insane people about rising up and installing Donald Trump as dictator of America. And something that we cannot have any control over is the polls are indeed shifting. I touched on this for the past couple of years now. We started in with Gene, and we've been tracking the movement of the poll, and now the poll has indeed hit that 40-degree mark, and where it is supposed to speed up both the North Pole and the South Pole, and according to Gene's experiments, they will flip. The magnetic poles, not the um, not the poles that the Earth rotates on, but the poles of the fields, the north magnetic field, south magnetic fields, north magnetic pole, south magnetic pole, positive, negatives. Um, they are moving towards each other, and positive and negative, they will either at some point repel and shoot back, or they will flip. And in the past, they have flipped. That raises question: what happens to our magnetosphere, our solar protection? We're going to talk more about all that, because that's a whole episode in and unto itself. But just Gene put out a video today. Heads up, my theory is about to be tested. So they have reached officially the 40-degree mark, and just wanted to make you aware of that. Again, there's can do about it, but if you start, don't wait on the government to tell you the sun feels a lot hotter, or that you feel like you're getting sunburned quicker than you used to, because there's more radiation in our atmosphere, in the upper atmosphere, which eventually gets down to the lower atmosphere, where we indeed ourselves are. Okay, a little bit of something from Midas Touch. Again, this is one of those. What happened here? Here we go. This is one of those channels that if you're not aware of, go over, subscribe, like, and follow. A lot of good information comes out from these guys. And this is just an observation of the situation with Ivanka Trump on Father's Day.
So Michael Popok, Legal AF. Ivanka Trump, who lives in Miami, now goes by the name of Kushner, has been missing from social media, ghosting the public, not making any comments at all, even as her father got indicted for the second time in 2 months. I mean, when your dad's arrested twice in 2 months on a total number of counts approaching 71 total counts against him in federal and state court, yet think that the daughter would maybe want to come out and give him a public hug. But that hasn't happened because Ivanka has her own problems. And that's why even today, when she resurfaced and came up for air, and she goes, she's going to say something about, supporting her dad, loving her dad, believing in her dad. No, a swing and a miss. The only thing that she commented on was a tweet, wonderful her husband is. Her husband, Jared Kushner, who has his own problems, having taken over $2 billion in a deal with the Saudi Arabian government soon after leaving office, claiming that the two things weren't related. Good luck with that. I'm sure the Department of Justice has a few questions for you, and a man named Mr. Smith will be at your front door any day now. Trying to avoid all of that and keep their heads from being cut off in a buzzsaw, Ivanka has retreated to her home in Miami in Indian Creek, where she's living in one house and building another. And she hasn't been heard from. Now, look, she's got her own tremendous legal problems. She is a named defendant in every civil case as of right now that's pending out there. She's a named defendant in the Letitia James's New York Attorney General suit for disgorgement, seeking over $250 million against Donald Trump, Don Jr., Eric, Ivanka, Alan Weisselberg, and others, along with the Trump Organization. That is at present going to trial in October, although even the New York Attorney General thinks that the recent indictment by Jack Smith will throw over that game board and make that get rescheduled for another time.
Okay. I'm going to pause it right there. Again, this is Midas Touch. And if you haven't heard of the site, go check them out. And here we go. Um, okay. All right. Um, I was pausing it there because of what he said about Ivanka and all the Trump kids, um, and how their court was set, but because of this indictment, and again, we still think within the next 3 weeks at the most, there will be a sedition, an indictment on sedition and attempting to overthrow the government coming out on Trump. And the state attorney general in New York said, we may not be having our trial at that time because this trial may, may make other things mute. Doesn't always work that way, but sometimes when somebody gets sentenced to something else, they leave those other charges pending and don't bring them to trial. Just something I wanted to kind of toss out there, as again, what we do on here, we show you things that you're not going to see on most other channels. Okay, yeah, we've done that one. Okay, that's our feature. All right, and let's go here. Let's go to, again, thank you all for clicking on. We're heading into our end of hour number 1. So this is another of the channels you might want to check out. Tom Hartman, and his episode. We won't. Of course, we're not going to play the whole thing. We don't just randomly steal everybody's stuff. We give you a little bit, point you where to go to find the rest of it. We're going to do the same thing with Trey Crowder. Stick around because that's coming up at the very end. We got a little segment from one of his coming up again. But this is how vigilante violence protects the GOP. And this came out 3 days ago. Very pertinent. Let's give it a little bit of it a listen here.
How the Republican Party became the party of vigilante violence. This is a remarkable piece. Aaron Gupta writing over on rawstory.com. Ron DeSantis, Matt Gaetz, Marjorie Taylor Greene have all called the white guy who choked to death the black homeless guy on the subway in New York City a hero. Greg Abbott said that he was going to pardon Daniel Perry, the guy who was convicted of murdering Garrett Foster during a Black Lives Matter protest in Austin, Texas. Perry texted a friend, quote, "I might have to kill a few people on my way." And then he drove his car into a crowd before shooting Foster. Ted Cruz was among the Republican officials who mocked the assault on Nancy Pelosi's husband. Paul Gosar, the fascist from Arizona, tweeted an altered anime video showing Andrea Ocasio-Cortez with a sword to the neck. In the 2020 National Republican Conference convention, they glorified this white couple who pulled out guns on unarmed, peaceful Black Lives Matter protesters.
Two lawyers.
Yeah. They came as guests to the RNC.
This finds too good not to share.
So again, Tom Hartman, THOM, Hartman, and a lot of good information. On his site. Okay, hold on. All right. The idea that the past couple of days I've had a lot of conversations about our country preparing either for the possibility of an insurrection or the possibility of an invasion. All right. And I prefer to think of it that way, because there could be an invasion from China, from Russia, uh, from South America, from aliens. Okay. And we're going to play a thing. Actually, the two things I deleted were the two alien stories. Real briefly, NASA, the United States Congress has had a hearing, two hearings actually, and NASA has had its first public hearing, and NASA is going to be issuing a report, and NASA supposedly is taking it very seriously. The other thing I deleted, and I'll show you, next time I'm on, I'll pull it back up, is that word is that it will be announced to the world, probably by President Biden, that alien life is on Earth, has been on Earth, and has been on Earth possibly since pre-biblical times. So that might, what is that going to, what is that going to do to people? Will they think it's propaganda? We are going to play something. I used to do this every once a month or so. I'd play an old movie from the 50s or 60s, and people would be amazed with how little some things have actually changed. This is how to recognize propaganda from 1957. Okay, this was made even before I was born. Okay, so this is old, but let's give it a watch and see if maybe things have not changed in some aspects as much as we might have hoped for our future.
An official television report to the nation from the United States Army. Now, to show you part of the big picture, here is Sergeant Stuart Queen.
The film you are about to see was produced as a troop information film, specially prepared to alert the American soldier against a hidden enemy that can destroy morale, rob the soldier of the will to fight, and even trick him into surrendering. Enemy propaganda. Although this study of communist deception was made for a military audience, we think that you, the American public, will also find it pertinent and enlightening.
In the words of an American hero, Patrick Henry, the gentlemen cry peace, peace, but there is no peace. And today America cries peace, peace. To further the blessings of peace, to ensure peace, America today sends to every nation in her imperialist orbit the implements of peace, ammunition, rifles, bayonets, hand grenades, machine guns, bombing planes, fighter planes, and now even atomic cannon. The gentlemen from America may call that peace, but I have another word for it. I call it war. I call it America's master plan to enslave the world. Let no one be deceived by the American-style peace.
Let no one be deceived. That's what the man said. I don't think you need three guesses to know what this is all about. But let's listen a moment longer and see what's behind it.
Peace is a word that sends cold shivers down the spines of American capitalists. Peace is what the whole world yearns for, prays for, longs for. But on Wall Street, it is a word that spells ruin. I say, let the American warmongers beware. The people want peace, and we are the voice of the people.
That was the voice of the Kremlin, or rather, one of its voices. There are lots of them around the world, speaking in every language. This material is just another sample of what you might call the communist war without guns.
Ominous music is always a must.
Is some of their ammunition. I'm Colonel Foster. I'm going to be your guide for a short tour through the maze of communist propaganda. It's a strange, shadowy world of the doctored photograph, the misquotation, the insinuation, and the lie. Now, some of this material to us is comical. Some of it is tragic. Some of it's weird. Some of it's dull. But all of it has the single purpose of digging the grave of liberty. The gravediggers of communism have been trying to set America up for the kill for years. And it makes them very angry that we don't just collapse as per schedule.
And keep in mind, everything you just heard, some things are weird, some things are comical, but they all have a purpose. The purpose is persuasion, and nothing has really changed except it's being done now rapidly and in mass volume online, and on these YouTube streets.
Listen to this. The living conditions of the American masses, that's you, are swiftly deteriorating. Our generation is going through the final convulsions of the dying world of capitalism. That's what it says here. And if you don't believe that pamphlet, try this one. Bankrupt America may have one more war in its decaying carcass, but her young men who face nothing but brute labor, poverty, and death may refuse to fight. That's what it says here. If you're assigned to duty overseas, you may see posters like this once in a while. That's you, in case you don't recognize yourself. Of course, we get a big chuckle out of stuff like this, but the bigger the lie, the bigger the laugh. But the gravediggers aren't laughing. They're deadly serious. And in some places around the still free world, some people believe them. Like to know what they're saying about you and all American soldiers? Well, in England, the communists call you arrogant gum chewers. They tell the Japanese you're pleasure-loving, pampered, juvenile delinquents. For Italian ears, the communists call you black marketeers bent on looting Europe. To the Austrians, they call you uncultured young thugs. To the Soviet-occupied countries of Eastern Europe, they say you are members of the gangster army of imperialist America. And to the people of Korea, the communists say you are cold-blooded murderers who tortured and shot and buried alive thousands of innocent civilians. Did you notice how the slander progressed? From the gum chewers to juvenile delinquent to black marketeer to thug, gangster, murderer. From you should be laughed at to you should be shot in just a few easy steps.
Once again, just a reminder that that can happen online as well. You can go from laughing at somebody or them laughing at you, and in just a few short steps it can be asinine stuff that happens offline that should never even be considered, let alone actually put into action. Nothing's changed. It's just now the stuff's being done online.
How's your sense of humor now? I imagine that all of us gum-chewing, pampered gangster murderers know why we're being slandered. It's because America is the major obstacle that stands between the gravedigger and his intended victim. Here is target number 1 for the Reds. And who's in the bullseye? You are. Being in the bullseye, it's important to know something about the enemy's weapons and how to spoil their aim. That aim is nothing less than world conquest, and subversion by every possible means is the chief method used. The key word is conflict.
And keep in mind, both sides accuse the other of the same things. The United States says we've got to keep China and Russia from, conquering the world. And Russia and China tell their people we've got to keep the United States from conquering the world.
Outside of the red countries themselves, conflict must be promoted everywhere. Every dissatisfaction must grow into a resentment. Every resentment must become an argument.
Again, listen to how it progresses, okay? Disagreement becomes an argument, becomes resentment, becomes violence.
Every argument must grow into a fight. Every fight must blossom into a riot. Every riot must expand into a war.
Even things that aren't actually riots get called riots as propaganda to inflate the imagery of whatever's actually happening. Hang on. Whoa. Sorry, somebody's... Here we go, about right there, maybe. I'm going to put this on. I'm going to step away and see what's going on outside in front of my house. I'll be right back.
Question. The reason why we do not have strikes is because we do not have exploitation of the workers. Here there are no capitalists and no landlords seeking profits at the expense of human welfare. As all of us know, in the Soviet Union, authority belongs to the working people. In no other country does the worker feel so much a part of his factory, his farm, his village, and his nation. Our workers do not grumble or strike. They leave that to the discontented masses of other countries who have not yet advanced to socialism. One has to look around the Union of Soviet Republics to see on every hand evidence of our enormous progress. In Uzbekistan, there has been a mighty upswing in the economy and unprecedented cultural progress as well. Twice as many Uzbeks today receive higher education than in France, for example. In Czechoslovakia, household appliances and motorcycles used to be the goods exclusively for the rich. Today, they are available to all. In Bielorussia, the people have received all equipment necessary for boosting agriculture, such as tractors and machines. We are a nation of happy builders in a blossoming land.
You get the picture? For the people around Moscow, they say everything in Uzbekistan is wonderful. For the people in the Euro region, they say everything in Czechoslovakia is wonderful. For the people in the Ukraine, Yellowstone is a blossoming land.
Again, I'm going to pause it here. It's called How to Recognize Propaganda.
Whatever a Soviet citizen lives.
And I wanted to basically play the start of this so that we could see how much our behaviors online just haven't changed since 1957. It's just we're doing it online now. I'm gonna pop. Wait. I'm gonna pop this off for a minute. I'm gonna go ahead and play the ending. For some reason, there's a vehicle sitting outside the side of the house here, and I just don't want to be back here. Oakley's a really good watchdog, but I'm just a little concerned about what might be going on out there. We got, you know how it is. You have questionable things happening in neighborhoods. But as promised, we are not going to leave without dropping another little bit from Trey Crowder, the liberal redneck liberal. This is from his latest comedy special called Damn Boy. And as you can see, it comes in about 27 minutes into the bit, into the gig. And we're just going to play just a little tiny bit of it here. And again, I recommend, if you haven't watched him, Trae Crowder, Crower. I've been playing him on here for years, and this is his latest special, and this is just a little snippet of it, really relevant as far as propaganda, if you will.
From now, teenage boys in my hometown might read some shit on the internet about how transgender people aren't fit to serve this country or whatever, and say to themselves, I don't know, that sounds like some papaw shit to me, dude. It would help. Thank you. I think that'd be a valuable lesson for kids to learn, how to differentiate between clearly made up bullshit and actual reality. You know what I mean? Especially in the world we live in. Like if we'd focused on that 40 or 50 years ago, then maybe January 6th wouldn't have happened. You know? Dude. Oh my God. January 6th, a day so dumb, if somebody explained it to you before it happened, you would have been like, stuff can't be that dumb. And then stuff was like, watch me, motherfucker.
And actually, from October of that year going forward, I was telling people, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. And I was told so many times, don't be stupid. There's no way anything like that would happen. And like he said, yeah, no way stuff could get that stupid. And stuff said, oh, yeah.
A man got trampled to death wearing a Don't Tread on Me shirt. Like, the unofficial face, the unofficial mascot of the whole thing was like if Vikings were useless, you know? The QAnon shaman. And then later, that guy's lawyer
oh, wait a minute. I got to bleep this.
In his official capacity as his lawyer, that the QAnon shaman was,
Whoa. Okay.
What?
Pause. For those that don't know, he called him a very derogatory term for someone that has diminished mental capacities. And that is, the lawyer actually used that word.
School or nothing, but I don't think you're supposed to say that. What the fuck? Dude, you know the prosecution had to be pissed off. They're like, oh, that's what we were going to say. God damn it. Now we got to start all over. Now, I'm not defending the words that lawyer chose, but that's got to be one of the shittiest, most stressful jobs in this country right now, I think, being a defense attorney for one of those people. You ever thought about how frustrating that would be? You're in court just like, Your Honor, how can it be proven that this image of a rioter holding a baton in the Senate chamber is in fact a picture of my client and not merely someone who resembles them? Well, this picture was posted to your client's Facebook page along with the caption, this is a picture of me, Chad Green, holding a baton in the Senate chamber, hashtag stop the steal. It's like, for fuck's sake. Like, what do you do with that? It's got to drive you crazy. You know, so crazy you'll say some shit like that lawyer said. And again, I'm not defending the words he chose, but the context of what he was trying to say was basically like, look, this guy ain't the sharpest tool in the shed. He's been exposed to intense propaganda for years, and this is what happens. And I think the guy was actually trying to make a pretty good point, really, about the danger of disinformation, you know? Because basically this lawyer's standing in the court of public opinion at his wit's end, pulling his hair out, just like, look at this motherfucker! You see how dumb he is? Now look at the shit he's been reading. You see how crazy it is? Well, you can't show a motherfucker that dumb some shit that crazy and expect everything to just be okay.
Trey Crowder from Damn Boy. That is going to put a wrap up on our show for tonight. However, give you what we call a little tease. Our next episode, we're going to delve into something because one of the two options that was being debated over the weekend was an insurrection. So we're going to run a little segment in the next episode called "Who Will Win America's Next Civil War?" Now,
who wins the whole presidential election?
All right. It's a very interesting piece. That's going to be our feature in our next episode. So be looking for that. Hit the subscribe, hit the notification so you'll know when we are coming back on, and hit the bell. Oakley is back here, like guarding my door, and she just rarely does that. She's not barking, so I'm assuming the vehicle's gone, but I went ahead and got out of the extended piece, and I played what I wanted to get out there, just to show how you can call it whatever you want. Disinformation, it's bullshit. You can call it lies. You can call it propaganda. But it's the most dangerous times it's used with just a kernel of truth with a whole bunch of other nonsense wrapped around it. But it's something that we ought to all hone our skills on. And like it said in the movie, and like Trey said, if we'd have started talking about all this 50 or 60 years ago, maybe there never would have been some of the things we're seeing now that have been brought about by propaganda. Just something to think about. Thank you all for being here. Love you all sincerely. And we'll be back. I'll be back probably. I may be back tomorrow night. I'll be back. I may be back tomorrow, late Wednesday and Thursday, depending on how things go. And then Friday, we're going to go back to the park again and see some music. So that's what's coming up this week. Thank you all for being here. I think, let me check and see just real quick here if I can. And see. Hang on just a second. Okay. I thought G Abbott was on tonight, and she is. Okay, so G Abbott is on right now. Head over to G Abbott. She generally has some really good panels going on. Coming up Wednesday night, it'll be Damnation Drive-In. Sam Singe, Baldy Banks, starting at 8 o'clock Wednesday. They'll be on 8 o'clock Friday. So, look for Rooster, look for Telly's Tavern, our dear friend Hot Mess Summer, Lolo from Lolo's Lounge. I hope I hit everybody. A lot of great sites, a lot of people putting great stuff out, and a lot of fun to watch a lot of these different channels, and I hope you do. And I thank you for being here and clicking on this. Again, consider hitting the subscribe, the like, the share. Until next time, namaste, shalom, shalom, assalamu alaikum. Blessings be upon you from the Most High. Love, positive vibrations, live long and prosper. Peace. I love you all. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.